two image providers right now. Hughes 500s preparing to take off. This is actually the information of where the killer eggs in Vietnam. In fact, they take up really small aircraft here, you'll notice that this aircraft has a main running system with at least 3 of this aircraft space 4 or 5 main rotor blades. This means it's a fully articulated system, and that means that the aircraft is able also to withstand some limited maybe of G flight. Notice also that the whole helicopter's mass really hangs underneath that rotor system. This rotor system is probably turning around 350 off the helicopter pilots refer to that as NR, or the number value of rotation. Taking off and climbing backwards. Of course, a helicopter can climb and move in any direction. It's actually much harder for a helicopter to hover, generally speaking, than it is to fly in forward flight. It takes more power. And it's also harder to hover higher than it is to hover lower. The helicopter is considered to be within ground effect when it's in the distance of about 1 main rotor system of that particular helicopter, space to the ground. So generally about 50-75 feet are considered to be within ground effect. That takes less power because it disturbs wingtip vortices or circular currents, re-ingested accelerated air that really just waste energy. When the aircraft's very near the ground breaks up those re-injected currents and actually provides a little more fresh air to the rotor system. Also, as the aircraft accelerates forward, it experiences something called effective translational lift. And that is, as it reaches about 26 knots, or about 27, 28 miles an hour, going in any direction, the air system, or the rotor system, tends to have more fresh, undisturbed air entering the rotor system, and it really gets a boost. Aircraft's executing a quick stop, as we call it. Notice how the helicopter pitches up when it does that. You also notice that generally the helicopter pilots will rotate about the calendar when they do a quick stop. It just reminds us of the possibility of the tail of the striking the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a real special treat today too. We're going to have radio-controlled helicopters flying after our Hughes 500 demonstration. These are just incredible, and if you haven't seen them thus far, you've really got to stop over and see these aircraft. Just amazing. Also amazing in the fact that helicopters themselves were not considered to be feasible objects as late as 1910, 1915. And here we have these miniatures with incredible precision from creation. The OH-6 aircraft, as we said before, used to call the killer egg. It was part of the hunter-killer team in Vietnam. The OH-6 was used to attract the attention of the enemy. To eliminate the threat. So effectively the OH-6 killer egg was virtually a decoy to attract gunfire. Very maneuverable, very capable. capable aircraft. The pilots of OH-6s always were convinced they were flying the best small aircraft in the world. This aircraft also has a high speed configuration. The whole fuselage is a little higher off the ground. Gives it a few benefits, but of course it's teeters a little more at that foot or so higher altitude. The pilots have to be very careful about rolling the aircraft over. Also out front, we've got a Robinson R-44 preparing to take off.